Welcome to Kachai with Lucky. Today we want to have a much needed conversation, a conversation that we have been putting on hold. I have two gentlemen, Adam Rujumba, who is part of Kachai with Lucky, and Dr. Hilary, who is a psychiatrist, who also is the General Secretary of Uganda Psychiatric Association. I didn't even know that you had a whole association there.
So we do.
Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thank you for sparing some time to have this conversation.
Good to be here.
I think, I may be wrong, but I've noticed that, especially in the African setting, I'll just speak for Uganda because, you know, I sit with men, I see them. A lot of them are suffering from depression, but they don't quite know that they are depressed. Therefore, they end up depressing us too.
Yeah.
So now we need to have a broad conversation on the signs. How do I tell that the man I have, or for the people around to know, or how does a man himself notice that he is depressed, and what are some of the things that they can do? First of all, maybe we start by defining what depression is. Hey, with the signs.
Thank you, Lucky. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Depression is one of those very, very common mental illnesses, but it's unfortunate that many people actually don't know what it is, and basically, like you said, how to identify it. In simple terms, depression is that changes in mood, your mood. You find that you feel sad most of the time, almost every day. You feel like you hate yourself. You have lost interest in the things you previously used to enjoy. You feel like you have trouble sleeping. You find that you are most of the time irritable, restless,
right? And
you find that you have lost hope in life. Sometimes, not sometimes, most times, depression is associated with suicide. Right. Suicidal ideation and suicidal attempts, and sometimes completed suicide. Yes.
Where you start to have these thoughts that you want to kill yourself.
Yeah, you feel like life is no longer worth living. You feel like you have reached at the end of the world and you're better off dead than going through what you're going through.
Would you say, Adam, that it becomes much more difficult for men than women because you were taught as a young boy not to show any kind of emotion? You can't cry, you can't show, they call it show weakness.
Yeah, it is the general way we are brought up as men in the African society is any form of weakness, any showing of weakness is not accepted by a man.
Right.
If you have a problem, a marital problem, you go crying to your fellow men, they go past, the first thing they go to is, are you serious? Deal with that shit on your own time. Excuse my French. Deal with that on your own time. Don't bring the... even if you go and ask as many men as you can find, you will never find a group of men who are discussing their marital issues, personal issues, emotional issues, at all. When we are together as a group of men, we're either going to discuss fun things, money things, life in general, except the emotional bit. Nothing to show any form of weakness. To the point that most of us even lie to ourselves. And
explain.
Our friends don't really know what we're going through.
Okay.
Because you can't tell them. It's just not accepted.
So what happens? The days, I would like to think that the days you open up, how does that make you feel? Because I'm not a man, I can't know these things. And who do you open up to, men? Okay, I can understand you're not opening up to your friends. Do you talk to your parents if you have them? Wow.
You just take it in slowly until you get to a point where you either blow up or just shut down and say, you know what, there's no solution here.
So you being a psychiatrist, what would you tell a man who is going through something and is having a hard time sharing with anyone? Because they are not going to seek help. Most men won't do that.
Well, again, it is all about, like Adam was saying, gender responsibilities.
Right.
And these are things that are taught right from childhood.
Right.
That as a man, you're supposed to provide. As a man, you're supposed to do this. As a man, you're supposed to do this. You can't cry. You can't complain about these things. So men try to find things that will work for them. Again, depression is an illness of thoughts.
Right.
It is thinking. You find that you think about something, it overwhelms you, and you try to, again, you have that negative thinking, and you try to go through with that, whether it is evidence-based or not. So what usually men do is to try to find solutions for themselves within their own negativity. Some you run away from home. That's why you find some families have been abandoned.
Because the man has looked for money, the money is not coming, the woman is demanding, the poor man has been told that you're supposed to provide, therefore if he can't provide, he's not a man, and that eats him up and he can't share with his woman.
And he will run away from the home. Others, you'll find them drinking heavily.
Right.
And they'll bury all their sorrows into alcohol. Then you start complaining, this man is also a drunkard. Kumbe, you don't know what is making him go drink. Others will start using other substances. They'll smoke cigarettes, they'll smoke weed, they'll take these other hardcore drugs to try again to calm down. Now, those are negative coping mechanisms that men develop.
Okay. I'd like to think us as women, especially if you're in a relationship with a man who is going through something and he's not sharing, the fact that we do not know how to deal with that is also a very big challenge when it comes to managing depression, especially in men. What would you tell a woman like me? Say, for example, I have a brother like him, he's going through a situation, I want to be able to help. I can tell that he probably needs help, somebody to talk to. But because of the nature of our relationship and what we were taught, I am the sister or he's my brother, I can't really reach out. How can we help, we as women? What do we do? Do we give space? Do we take them out? Give us solutions. How do we help our brothers?
It actually cuts across.
Right.
Depression doesn't mean you're weak. Depression doesn't mean you're less of a person, you're less of a man.
Right.
It is not a sign that you've failed. But we also we have to understand that we have emotions.
Right.
And the emotions can go either way, positive, negative.
Right.
However, for the observers, there are things you can notice on a person that you really know very well.
Right.
You'll find that their behavior has changed. They are now not sleeping well, or sleeping very little, sleeping too much. You find that they are weak or fatigued all the time. You find that their eating habits have changed, either eating too much or less.
Right.
You find that they are losing weight,
Or gaining.
unexplained weight gain or weight loss.
Right.
You'll find that they are now drinking heavily, much more than before. You find that they are now trying to even isolate themselves from other people, and probably they are irritable. Actually, it is these atypical, what we call atypical signs, signs that are not usually written in books, that women will present. Extreme sadness all the time, or total isolation. Men will try to be very irritable, and they will be quarrelsome all the time. And
then you'll wonder how is a man all of a sudden like a woman, throwing things and tantrums.
Tantrums here and there. They can even be violent. You may find that they are even starting to be violent towards their partners and the other people. Then you know that there's something wrong with this person.
Okay, so Adam, because I am asking you because you're the only person here that I could ask. If you were in a state of depression, because I've been there before, and because I'm a woman, it's easier to open up. I don't know how many times I've hit rock bottom, and for some reason, because I know I've hit rock bottom, I seek help. Now, it's very difficult for some people who do not believe, first of all, in seeking help, or who don't even know how to identify that they have an issue. How do you think we can help men who are going through this situation? How do you think, for you, when you're going through it, what do you need? Is it space? Is it support? Is it nice food? What can a woman do for you?
Well, you see, first of all, most of us men don't really want to acknowledge that we are actually depressed.
Right.
Even when we are. It is something we don't want to acknowledge. One, majorly because of how we were brought up.
Right, right.
Like he said earlier, you're told to be a man, you have to do A, B, C, D, E. You can't show a weakness, you're not allowed to do certain things. Now, as much as I might feel deep down that I think I'm depressed, I have to figure out a way myself of coming out of that depression without having to disturb anybody else. Because here's the thing about it. Most men will not come to their wives to tell them that they are depressed or they have a serious issue mentally or emotionally.
And the thing is, we already have noticed that.
Yes.
You
but
know
you
that.
have noticed it, but we are not going to tell it to you.
Yeah.
You will notice it on your own and say, but this guy is changing. What he used to do here, he's not doing it anymore. And now, as the doctor said here, we will try to find solutions on our own. He said drinking. One of them that he didn't mention was promiscuity also.
Okay,
Just
you
go
can
find,
do that.
Yes,
It's
it's actually one of the things that most men do.
They find it very therapeutic.
Well, it might be therapeutic per se, but the whole fact that I am going to just be with this person who I probably not going to mean anything serious to me. I can tell all my stuff and I walk away. And that is that.
So they've got therapy through a third party.
Yes.
But what I was trying to, to imply here is that me as a woman, I would know when my man is depressed. He may not be able to open up to me, but I can tell that this one, things are not good. As a woman, you will know that maybe he's having financial difficulties, even if he's not coming out. You can tell that things are different now, or maybe things are happening to him medically. He's gone through a health situation, and he just doesn't know how to deal with that. So when you haven't told me, but I see the signs, I need to know how you think I could help, even if you haven't told me.
You can try.
Do I stop bugging you? Do I give you space? Does that help?
You can try and talk to him.
Okay.
The thing is, the approach. Now, unlike you ladies, we are not very verbal.
Right.
Especially when it comes to our emotions.
Right.
Now, for you, if you have something that is emotionally disturbing you, you want to spread it out to the whole world to hear.
Yes.
Now, me, I don't want to. Because that is not who I am. It is not what I am. And now, if you come with your mentality as a woman, but why doesn't he tell me? I'm asking, he's not telling me. Now there, I'm just going to shut down. So you need to approach it slowly and carefully.
Right.
Don't over-insist on trying to find out what is the problem. Once in a while, bring it up. Then keep quiet. Give him some space.
Is me asking you, honey, are you okay?
That is
there
fine.
Anything I can do
that
for you? Does that help?
It helps, yes. But the frequency should be
not to over ask.
Because once
not being in his face.
Yes, because once you do that, I see you as you become a burden.
I also add on to your
to my pressure, on my stress levels. So it's the beauty. I really don't know how you can help because
we really want to help. We must find a solution.
I understand you do, but because of how we are, it's kind of hard.
Approach becomes hard.
Yes.
From an expert's point of view, how do you think we can help our men to open up more? Because for me, I believe therapy is opening up and acknowledging you have a problem and being able to talk about it, especially with the people around you. Yes. How do we do that?
The whole thing is about being empathetic. Like you know, there are many different triggers that you bring up to this change in the mood of men. Can first cause anxiety, then depression.
Right.
So it is up to you to understand your man, because you know him very well. You know when he's happy, you know when the mood has changed.
Right.
And when you sense that, you'll always tell that my man these days doesn't have the money. My man cannot easily provide.
Right.
My man is spending a lot more time outside than before. And you can understand, okay, honey, I noticed that this is changing. Are you okay? Can I help?
Okay.
I know these days you don't have the money. I have this. We can do this and this. I have this little money. Let's plan for it.
Right.
I can assure you, once you come in that state, the state of calmness, not bugging him. Like he said, if you continue bugging, he will continue shutting up.
And remember, because we don't know how to ask for help, if you come at it the way he has said, it lessens my burden and my anxiety.
Right.
Yes.
So he'll feel much more rested, much more basically like calming down, and will actually can even open up to you. Because we don't want someone to come in full force, demanding.
Hey, what's your problem?
Exactly.
You talk to me.
And
you married me.
Which is what you want to do.
And like he said, you'll end up associating with people who actually give you that kind of comfort.
Right.
Give you that state in which you can easily open up to them. And you'll find that you're opening up without knowing. So if you're a woman and you want to get information from your man, handle him very slowly.
Right.
Very empathetically and very sympathetic.
There is what they call clinical depression. I could be wrong. I think there's clinical depression and there's depression. There's a hell lot of African men who actually don't go. They need to be diagnosed, first of all, with depression, but they won't allow themselves to be medicated. How do you help those? How do you identify that this kind of depression needs to be medicated and he needs to be on antidepressants?
And we have many.
They are actually very, very many. And sometimes, like you said, they actually depress their spouses. And many times the spouses will come.
Right.
Because the health-seeking behavior of women is totally different from that of men.
Right.
And that's why even the statistics are not favorable to women.
Right.
You find that women are twice more likely to suffer from depression. But we know that what you call clinical depression presents differently in the different genders.
Right.
So the normal academic depression has symptoms like sleep disturbance. You find that you're either failing to sleep, or you're sleeping very little time, or even you're not sleeping at all.
Right.
You find that your appetite has changed, loss or increased. You find like we said, your size is either shrinking or bulging. You find that you have low energy to do anything. You have lost interest in previously pleasurable activities. Low sex drive. Find that he used to perform, but now he's no longer.
Or he's overperforming and he just wants to break you.
Exactly.
Oh yes.
It is a kind of a coping.
Using it as a coping mechanism.
Exactly. Then you'll find that now his behavior has totally changed.
Right.
From that anger, irritability, and restlessness. You find that the drinking has increased, all those kind of things. Those are all clinical depression. But depression, again, has severity levels, all indices. You find that there are those that are mild, moderate, and the severe. Severe one, they will always be admitted in hospital. Sometimes they'll even be forced. But again, it will also depend on your beliefs and what you think is causing that. So you find some end up in hospital, others, the whole community kind of comes together and forces
they intervene
them.
and then
exactly. Family members come in, the elders come in, the sisters come in, and they kind of force them to go to hospital.
Oh, the other thing that, I would like us to have a conversation on, after, how do we get them to seek therapy? If I know that my brother is depressed, how do I walk him to actually come to you, the psychiatrist, so that he can get help?
First of all, coming to a psychiatrist is stigmatizing itself.
Yep.
You hear a psychiatrist, you say, I'm not mad.
I'm not mad.
And it's what comes to your mind first.
Okay. So how do we then...
Well, what you do is, there are these alternate interventions you can do. Of course, we would want them to come and they get professional help. But if they don't want to come, you don't force them. But be, like we said, empathetic. Be understanding. Of course, understand what it is that is causing him to be depressed. Sometimes it could be just financial issues. It could be relationship issues.
Right.
Within the marriage or even outside. Men meander a little bit. Sometimes it could be something outside.
Hi, doctor.
He's choosing his words carefully.
A little bit.
Well, maybe I'm talking from my own experience. So it could be the issue outside even the normal home relationship.
Right.
And you find that it's something stressing him to the point where it depresses him. It could be work.
Right.
You find that things are not moving on well. It could be interest. You find that he needs something, he feels pressure to provide, and things are not coming on very well, and all these kind of things. But these are things that you can modify. You may not entirely change them, but you can modify them. Again, you can modify them all in the way you see them, the perceptions. Okay, if you don't have money, are you going to go and break a bank?
No.
But you can use what you have, the little you have, to modify,
Right.
to basically adjust in your lifestyle. Again, if you have an understanding partner, these are things you can share. And you as a woman, if you understand that your man is going through these kind of changes, now understand. Don't continue demanding for these things that you know is not going to be able to provide.
How about those with suicidal thoughts? I have a friend who lost somebody dear to her.
Yes.
It started out as a joke. I didn't think that it was very serious. You see how people joke on the social media. He posted quite a couple of statuses that he wants to kill himself. I want to go. I'm tired of this life. I've looked for jobs I am not getting. But you see, we treated them as social media. You know, she was just, you know, throwing words left, right, center. I swear to God, just after a week, they call it overdosing. And, you know, they found him with some medication. They rushed him to hospital. Unfortunately, an hour later, he passed on. He couldn't make it. How do you tell that this is now a real suicidal threat from someone who's just bluffing and seeking attention now? Because in most cases, people are like, that one is seeking attention.
That is quite very important.
Yes.
Actually important. We don't take any suicidal threat lightly in mental health.
Right.
Even if it is kidding or joking, we don't take it lightly.
Right.
At least we follow that one until we find the root cause of that and manage it accordingly. Because we know for every person who attempts suicide, he will have thought about it. In any way, he will have probably let it out.
Right.
And the more you attempt it, the more the chances of completing it.
Right.
You find that for all those who complete it, they have tried it before.
Right.
So if you hear or you see a status or you hear someone talking about suicide, take that seriously. And that is probably a medical emergency. You may not handle it alone. That one
It's an emergency.
do whatever you do to take them to a mental health person for help. Never take any threat of suicide lightly.
So what do we take home with us, Adam? Have you taken anything, do you think? Men should open up more. How do we then help them? Because African men are very hard.
That is going to take a while. That is going to take, unfortunately, it's going to take a while for us to change from our normal, let me use the word SOPs as men. Because like I said, maybe the generation below us or some few more below us will get to a point where they feel free to express themselves. Us, on the other hand, from I think 35 and above, it is next to impossible.
How are you raising your children? You have
We
sons
are raising
and
them
people.
to try and...
Are you also telling them to be men and not show emotions? Because how do we break the chain?
It is very unfortunate. I am not going to say we don't do it.
Right.
But we try to let them... We are trying these days to let our children be more expressive than we were. Because when we grew up,
as we should.
You are not allowed to express yourself in any way. Now we are trying to teach the children of now to express themselves. That might help in the future. But for those of us who grew up in the pure, proper African culture,
you're still struggling with it.
we are going to struggle with it for a while until...
It does help a lot to actually express yourself.
Right.
However, again, that's for me, I like doing this kind of programs. And we have that kind of program in Uganda Psychiatry Association where we do mental health awareness. Once people are aware of these things, then it becomes easier for them to actually seek help.
Right.
We have to understand that depression is there. It's one of the leading causes of years lived with a disability. And it is one of those leading causes of suicide.
Right.
Suicide accounts for a lot of death.
And lifestyle diseases.
Exactly. However, there is that stigma towards mental health.
Right.
We need to demystify these kind of feelings and behaviors and make them seem normal and make them know that you can actually get help. But also we also have to understand how depression and other illnesses present. We know that in men, despite the fact that we know it is quite common, we don't know how it presents. It's again understanding that depression can present in so many ways.
Right.
It could be in the physical symptoms, the headaches, the palpitations, the breathlessness, the fevers. You go to hospital and they test and there's nothing. We say there is no complete health without mental health.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the men right now, it is okay to show emotions. I've seen the most powerful men in the world cry in front of oppressors. Barack Obama has cried before, so maybe if I give you those examples, you might know. There's a time Clinton really cried. I think it was something had happened and lots of lives were lost. So you have these powerful men comfortably coming out and showing emotions in front of you. Then you're back at home and thinking you can't show emotion. Come on now. I think you can. There's nothing wrong with that, for as long as it makes you feel better. For as long as it makes you feel better, by all means show your emotions, because you're going to end up they call it 6 feet under. And then you leave your family, and for what? What will the pride do for you? I think we should now, try to understand that being a man is more than showing weaknesses or emotions. Again, where do they go? How do they find you in case they need help?
For me, I'm based at Kampala Medical Chambers Hospital.
Right.
On Uganda Road. There is another private hospital that has psychiatrists full time, Nakasero Hospital.
Right.
But as the Uganda Psychiatric Association, we have a website where you can actually you can look for Uganda Psychiatric Association. You'll find the website. We work with the affiliated professionals, counseling. You can also contact them. We have that kind of connection with them. There's Gutabika Hospital or any other hospital. Once you go there and a mental illness is identified, they will also refer you to a specialist.
Or you can start by opening up to your religious leaders, your family members. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hilary and Adam. That's all we had for you on Kachai with Lucky. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Kachai with Lucky, and be part of the family. God bless you. Be kind to one another. Kwaheri.